Welcome, everybody, to the Monrovia City Council recap for the meeting Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. My name is Julie Bank, and with me is Miss Barbara Gholar, and we are going to be your recap team today. I am so happy to be back.
I know, I'm so happy to have you back. As we were talking off camera, we haven't been together since December 2024.
It's over a year ago since I've been doing the recap, but I am back and I am really excited to be discussing this with you, Barbara, talking about the meeting again for Tuesday, January 20th. I want to remind everybody out there that you too could be sitting at this table.
Absolutely.
And if there's anybody interested or has some extra time, we'd love for you to come. And all you have to do is watch the city council meeting and then come here and talk about it, right?
That's it.
That's it. And we need more voices, so we need you to come out and help us. If you're interested, contact KGEM.
Yes.
All right, so we are going to jump right in. The meeting started at 7:35 p.m. It was about 2 minutes and 14 seconds in once you start the recording on YouTube. But it started in honor of Malachi Owen Mitchell, who was born in December. So we welcome Malachi.
I like that name, Malachi.
I like it a lot, and I wish I would have seen a picture of Malachi.
Yeah.
They didn't show a picture, did they?
I
don't think so. But
Okay. Anyway.
Congratulations to the Mitchell family for the birth of Malachi, and maybe we'll excited to see Malachi on the city council one day.
Yes.
So there we are. The invocation was given by Steve Martinez. The pledge was given by Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kelly. Roll call, all of our city council members were there. There was no closed session report, but there was a study session on council liaisons. The mayor seemed really excited about that study session. She said at the next meeting, we'll hear more. Oh. And the council, each year, they pick which city council member is going to basically liaison to different groups within town and different commissions and all of that kind of stuff. So next time they meet, we will hear more about that. So we jumped into presentations at 5 minutes and 20 seconds in, starting with PR1, retiring admin director Buffy Bullis.
Oh, I know. I wish I had gone to there because when a few years back when I was, I forgot the title, but the older American.
Yes.
And Buffy was my driver
Was
both times in the holiday parade as well as the Monrovia Days parade. Yeah.
Well, what Dylan said, and this is a testament to Buffy, his quote was, "She is one of the most trusted people I have ever worked with." So she had been at the city for 22 years.
I didn't realize that.
22 years and is retiring. So we are wishing Buffy the best retirement ever. The person who is taking the place for Buffy is Ray Bonin. And they wanted everybody to know that Buffy's going to have a retirement party on Thursday, the 29th. I'm assuming by them saying that meant you're invited if you want to come out to a retirement party at the community center. But again, we wish Buffy a whole lot of love and success, and thanks for being part of the city as long as you have been. That at 26 minutes and 52 seconds, they then surprised Councilmember Spicer with a happy birthday song. So I guess his birthday is on January 31st.
Yes.
Is that accurate? So very happy birthday to you, Mr. Spicer, and many more years to come.
Yes.
At 28 minutes and 22 seconds in, they gave the ASB report from the high school, the ASB student from the high school. I will tell everybody that young lady is one of my son's best friends, and her name is Elise. They kept calling her Elsie, and I'm going, no, it's Elise. It's Elise. But she did such a great job. She talked about them having a new incentive-based fee for the upcoming Sadie Hawkins dance. Yeah. And that it is all wrapped around attendance. So I thought that was a neat thing, that if you have good attendance, the fee is going to be less. Talked about winter sports teams preparing for their senior nights right now. Talked about having tonight, there is a rally for the Renaissance group, which is happening right now. Friday, which is tomorrow, there will be the Bite of Reality, where the kids learn about financial literacy and budgeting. You've volunteered for that before, right?
No, they haven't called on me
Oh,
to
you
do
haven't?
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've done it, and it's a really great experience for these kids.
Yeah.
I was chatting with my son about, they're going to give you a scenario, and you might have a wife, you might have a kid, you might have a job, you might be unemployed, and then you have to go through different stations to learn about budgeting and how to make that work.
That's what I teach.
Oh, good.
I mean, families and individuals and stuff like that.
Well, if you're free tomorrow, you can come on out. They always need volunteers to help. So we could talk about that afterwards. I'll let you know. And I'll pick you up.
Okay.
All right. They also have a Stranger Things rally coming up. And they had the box singer, which is where the teachers put on a box and you didn't know where they were and who they were. And they sang on stage. I have to tell you, I went to watch it. It was one of the most joyous things I've seen in years.
Is that like the mass?
It's like the mass singer, but it's the box singer or the box teacher.
Mm-hmm.
These teachers were amazing. Kudos to all of you who went out and actually got up on stage with a box on your head and did it. And the winner was Mr. Mason Tyler, who is the high school.
That's my student.
Oh, he was your student? Well,
Yeah,
he won the box singer.
I taught. Yes.
And then the report ended with something really, really nice that Councilmember Spicer basically asked Elise to go back and ask Dr. Rainwater that if there is any student that can't go to the Sadie Hawkins dance, that he should be told because they want to cover his costs, which I think is really terrific.
I do too. No student should be.
No. And then prom is coming up too. I want to remind everybody this wasn't as part of the report, but prom is coming up. This dance is coming up. Monrovia High School has a giving closet where they take dresses and suits and prom gear. So if any of you out there have any extra of that, please go to the high school and feel free to donate that. Sorry, I'm diverting from our cause here. All right, at 31 minutes and 10 seconds in, they went to the consent calendar, and that's CC1 to CC9. Councilmember Spicer approved. I didn't catch who seconded, but they were all in favor.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah. And then at 31 minutes, 40 seconds, they went to public input, starting with Sherry. And Sherry spoke about advocating for day laborers. She spoke about support for immigrants and against ICE practices. And she wants a permanent memorial for Carlos Montoya Velez and feels that the city council is staying a little too quiet. This was addressed later on in Dylan Feek's report, which we'll get to there. Martha also spoke about this activity, but gave a quote from Martin Luther King and also read the names of the 44 people who died in ICE custody.
I missed that, but someone did that one time before.
Yeah,
read the names.
It's always very impactful.
Yes, absolutely, it is. Yeah.
So we then had members of the Monrovia Historic Preservation Group. Jim Wigton spoke on their behalf, and they were speaking about a property, a historic home, a Victorian home at 222 East Cypress Avenue. And we were talking about this earlier. We kind of missed it. I do recommend, if you have an interest in that, to go and look more, because it sounded to me like they said that they wanted, that it was more cost effective to potentially relocate it than to restore it. But I'm not sure that that is what they were actually saying. So if you're interested in that, you should go and back to take a look. And you were saying something interesting.
Well, I too am going to do the same thing because personally, that house is up the street from where I grew up. and I knew the family that lived in that home. And so my only concern, if they're thinking about moving it, I mean, we have these homes in other areas of the city, above Foothill or around the, around Clifton area and things like that. But to my knowledge, there's none below Huntington Drive. And so
You're talking about historic
the
homes?
historical
Okay.
homes. And so I would, me personally, that's a personal thing for me. That's why for me, I want to go back and really listen to what Jim said and even have a conversation with Jim.
Yeah, and we want to remind everybody that the whole point of this time together is recap, is so that we can give you an overall summary. The hope is that you're going to get excited about some of these and want to go back and learn. And we're giving you the time so that you can then go back and learn and listen more. So thank you for modeling that behavior and going back and learning more about that.
Yes.
So the next speaker was James Wheeler. James is the manager over at Living Spaces in Monrovia, and he spoke about asking for a change in ordinance to allow street parking for commercial vehicles because he's having a challenge with commercial vehicles parking in his parking lot rather than being able to be on the street. And they do talk about that later on again and address it in Dylan's talk. So we'll come back to that. And then our final speaker was the granddaughter of Miss Gail Montgomery, who recently passed away. And her name is Jasmine Montgomery, and she thanked everybody for being part of her grandma's life. And she said that there is a GoFundMe to help with services, and that the tentative date for services is February 20th from 1 to 5. They're not calling them services, they're calling it a celebration of life. And I will tell you that I had the privilege of knowing Gail, and Gail was always very supportive of me and my son and always responded with kind words, and she'll be missed.
Yes.
All right. So at 48 minutes and 5 seconds in, we jump to public hearings, starting with PH1, which was about the Municipal Code Title 15. They want to adopt an ordinance which has to do with updated building codes. There wasn't really any comments from the public on that. Councilmember Spicer motioned. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kelly second, and all were in favor. If the building code topic, you can go back and take a look more about that. They did give a presentation. It was a short presentation, gave a presentation. Yeah. Then they went to Resolution 226-02, and that was about the allocation of block grant funds for the 26-27, I was about to say school year, but 26-27 year. Just so you know, and it was a great presentation she gave on that as well. Yes. Block grants are federally funded grants focused on improving the quality of life and helping immediate needs and to prevent deterioration. Originally from HUD, and then they passed through different county departments. They are looking at Monrovia getting $221,247, and the majority of that is going to go to residential rehab. It's actually going to end up going to fund 7 projects. They also added some detailed program guidelines to ensure the efficacy of these funds are being used appropriately. So both the accepting of the funds and then the program guidelines were shared in this presentation.
Yes.
Council Member Belden commented that he appreciated the approach. And then Council Member Jimenez wanted to know how residents find out about the program. And then there was a whole bunch of conversation about marketing the program. Is code enforcement involved? Yeah. How did we do outreach? And taking it from there. So with that, there was no comments at public hearing. And our city manager, Dylan, reminded us that there is no program right now working with or partnering with cities. So those folks that go to your door to sell sell stuff at your doors. Solar, that's the word. Yeah. Sell solar at the door, or if somebody calls you and says, I'm working with the city, you should be weary. There is no programs right now working with the city. Yeah. I thought that was a great reminder for all of us.
Right. And I actually liked how, the process to making sure that
the guidelines, the program guidelines.
Yes.
So Council Member Spicer motioned. Councilmember Jimenez second, and all were in favor. At 1 hour, 8 seconds in, there was PH 3, which is 202601. And that was about an annual mitigation fee report and traffic impact fee. This was also a meaty presentation, and it had to do with traffic impact fee ordinances. And what I think I got from it is to ensure all new development was paying their fair share to prevent traffic fees, specifically south of Huntington Drive. It's not about improvements, but it's about maintaining the level of service. Excuse me. They reviewed a report, and they also reviewed adopting new fees. And then they had a discussion about why is it just south of Huntington? Why isn't it north of Huntington as well? There was no comment on public hearing for that either. Councilmember Jimenez motioned, Councilmember Spicer second. At 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 18 seconds, then we jumped to the report for our city manager. He started off with his directive log, and he said some great news that there were elected officials contacted him, I think it was that day, that they were successful in getting 3 projects on the funding list, which meant over $3 million from the federal government going to 3 separate projects. I am so sorry. If you want to learn what those projects are in more detail, again, 1 hour, 16 minutes, 18 seconds in. He also mentioned that he attended a ribbon cutting in Azusa for a monument about Route 66. So it was really nice for him to be part of a different city and see what the different city does and how the different city is doing that. And I'm sure, as you've heard, there's a lot going on with the Route 66 celebration. So I'm sure more to come in these meetings.
Right. And not just in Monrovia, because I was even approached from a friend in Pasadena, because when I said about what we were doing here in Monrovia, and he thought, well, is there a collaboration?
Yeah.
You know, it seems like
it goes from one city to another city, right? Yeah.
But I also think that that's a good, that we have our difference. So it's like what you just said, just moving right along.
Yeah, moving right along, and different cities with different cultures and different things going on.
Yes.
So the mayor then asked to go back to some of the issues that were addressed in public comment. And just a reminder to everybody, they cannot comment on public comment, but they could certainly talk about it later on. So mayor asked
but
Dylan.
They can't talk about it.
They can't tell it.
They can't. That's why I believe that they then turned it over to city manager Dylan.
Right.
Yeah.
So the mayor asked him to address the investigation requests from on Carlos Montez, and he said that he understands their frustration because they're frustrated too. They have put formal requests in to get information on the investigation. Nobody's giving them information on the investigation, and it is a very frustrated thing. He also spoke about the process needed to do a monument. And it's not that they're against a monument, but we have to decide whether that monument is going to come from the city. And if the monument is going to come from the city, then there is a process for that and a funding stream that has to exist for that. Or if the funding is going to come from private donations and a private location, which makes it a lot easier to do a monument. So
I really think that is, since I have been involved, not totally involved in city government, but being a part of our city recap, and actually also going to some of the city council meetings and being involved on organizations with city council members.
it is a process.
It is a process.
It's not like you can just snap your fingers and do it, right?
And I'm going to give a plug for a map right now, Monrovia Area Partnership. And that's really, truly where you learn all these different things. And so mark on your calendar every September for adults as well as youth. So just keep an ear out because they do a great job in advertising. That's where you really learn a lot.
And you say they, both you and I are map leaders.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's
anybody
right.
out there can be a map
map
leader too.
Yes.
So join the club.
Yes.
Join the
I just
club.
have to throw that in.
All right. They also briefly discussed the commercial parking issue. And Dylan said it's a complicated issue that needs a lot more review, but it is on their agenda and in their awareness, and they're going to continue to review that. 1 hour, 26 minutes, 14 seconds in, they went to RCM2, which is the One City, One Story program, which we both know a little bit about. Yes. So that's what people say. Very, very exciting. I'm really excited about it. So Carrie Vance, who is one of our librarians, came and did a whole presentation on that event. The most important thing to know is that it is really a way to get the community together around issues like reading and literacy. And it's really just about community building. There is a ton of activities out there for people to attend, but most important, this Saturday at, I think it's 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It is the kickoff where you can get the free book called The Bear. And you can also meet a lot of the nonprofit partners. And you can learn more about all the activities that are going to be happening from January through March.
Yes. There's going to be all sorts of games and everything. It truly is a family affair. So come on out.
Yes, but it just starts there because there's going to be a whole lot of activities and read-ins in the park and book discussions and nature walks and so much stuff happening.
We are going to be all over the city.
Yes, and you can get yourself a free book too. And I've read the book, so I'm looking forward to the discussions.
Yeah. I haven't. I only read some of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, read it.
But anyway, yes.
All right. We then, at 1 hour, 32 minutes, 52 seconds in, we went to the city council reports, starting with Sunishi Park. Every one of the council members talked about Sunishi Park. I was there. It started off amazing with some beautiful Japanese drumming, stories from the family, stories from people that couldn't, I couldn't have thought of a better dedication. Yeah. And the park is great.
It's so different from the other parks.
And that's the neat thing about all the parks in Monrovia. Every one of them is different. There's Julian Fisher Park. There's Lucinda Garcia Park. There's now Shinichi Park. And they all have their own vibe. They all have their own dedication. They're all honoring amazing people who have done great things in Monrovia. Check out the park. But they all talked about it. So I'm not going to go into each of the details. They just said a lot of things, and you can look at it. But Councilmember Belden did talk about the Clean Power Alliance. He gave a little bit of an education about why some of the costs are going up, but I recommend that you go back and listen to it to learn the details. Yeah. We then went to Councilmember Spicer, who wanted, he said that the Community Services Department wanted to remind everybody that there are crafts in the park every month for kids. It's free, and it's sponsored by Empower, Monrovia Parks Wildlife Recreation Foundation. So go check out the website or just go up to Kenyon Park and go to those free crafts. And then there's also a community job fair on Thursday, which is today. So unfortunately, you probably missed it, but they have them every couple of months. Yes. So you can get on the agenda or look at it for the next time. And he said there'd probably be over 400 people in attendance for that job fair, which is...
They have great attendance.
Yeah, but that's sad.
Growing.
It's sad because that means there's a lot of people who are looking for work.
Yeah.
All right. Councilmember Jimenez said that he celebrated MLK Day on Sunday at the Duarte Historical Museum. We had an event hosted by the Monrovia Black Alumni Association. And that
Duarte Black Alumni.
Duarte, sorry.
Yes.
And that he said a quote that I liked, and it was MLK. Oh, I didn't write it down right. MLK dreams live on through public service. So, and then also Black History Month is coming up.
Yep, we're kicking off February 1st at the high school, showing the film 100 Years from Mississippi.
Perfect. And that's from 2 to 4 p.m., right?
It's from 2 to 4, yes.
Okay. And then he also talked about, I know it feels like a lifetime ago, but he talked about Noon Year's Eve event. That's our for the littles in town. And that the weather didn't mess it up. They moved it inside and it was a great success.
Okay. When I heard that, I go, I thought everything was canceled, but I'm
No,
glad
not that event. They moved it
inside.
inside.
That was for them.
Yeah, they said it was a lot of fun and it was great. So then Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kelly also talked about MLK and gave a quote, "Life's most persistent and most important question is what we are doing for others." So I thought that was a powerful quote. She also talked about MOTAB event that's coming up for Valentine's Day, and that if you're interested in going out for dinner in Old Town and then also a carriage ride through Old Town, you can go on and register. You have to do it soon because it does get filled up.
Yes.
And then she also said to save the date because the Old Town Wine Walk is coming back on Saturday, April 11th. She also said that Tuesday, February 10th is the State of the City event at Look Cinema at 6 p.m. We encourage everybody to be there.
Absolutely.
It's a great way to learn of what happened over the past year and get to know your city council members.
And you know, they did something different this year. They sent out a message on part of Dylan's city manager's weekly update, is that if any nonprofits or anyone wants
a message in there
to be a part of. So I thought that was really good.
And a reminder to everybody should be part of the city manager update. It comes out every weekly. It's very easy to go to the website, sign up to get it, and you will be in the know. You should never be able to say that you don't know because you either see it in the city manager's update or here at the recap.
Right.
Perfect. All right. And then our final presentations were from Mayor Shevlin. She talked about the LA County Sanitation District, which is disposal of wastewater rates. If you're interested in that, you can go listen to that. She also talked about the celebration of 100-year anniversary of the Lutheran Church. Happy birthday, 100 years. That's terrific. She said that Monrovia was named 2425, which seemed odd, but she said it was the energy champion by the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And then, I'm missing my page here. They then closed the meeting in honor of a couple of people who recently passed away. And do you have their names?
I only know of two of the names, and I did not. I left that pad at home, so I really apologize.
Well, there were four influential people. Unfortunately, one person that worked at the library, one person that was the family member of a past, one that was a past fire chief, one person that was the family member of somebody who currently works at the city, and then Gail Montgomery that we spoke to before. So we definitely put our hearts out to their families and thank everybody for their service to the city. And we are very sad to see.
The person that at the library, she worked at the veterans.
Yes, that's right. She worked at the veterans.
And I was really most saddened about that.
So that took us to the end of the meeting. The meeting was adjourned at about 9:43 p.m. It was about a 2.5-hour meeting, maybe a little less than that. But it was, for me, a representation of all the stuff that happens in our city. Good, sad, dry, not so dry, topics that you might like, topics that you might not be interested in. But either way, we want everybody to be informed. We want everybody to be updated. And we also are putting out a plea out there for everybody to get involved in whatever way that you can. Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Well, just like what you said, to really get involved. And I am going to throw this out. You know, if you have a complaint or whatever, instead of posting on social media, come, sit here, watch the city council meeting.
Go to a city council meeting. Yeah.
And that's where you can make that difference. And that's where also your voice can really and truly be heard.
Yeah. So it's a perfect place for us to end. Thank you so much for being with us today. Yes. And we'll see you next time.
And happy 2026.
Yes. Is this the first time we're together in 2026?
You know what? I don't know, but it's the first time we're together.
All right. Well, we're going to end with that. I look forward to more in 2026 and have a great week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.